Incumbent President Carlos Manuel Viya has won a second five-year term in Sao Tome and Principe's presidential election held on Sunday, according to preliminary results released by the National Electoral Commission. Over 140,000 voters were registered for the election. Following the withdrawal of one candidate, 4 candidates remained in the race, including Nito Viegas Dabrio, a member of the National Assembly, was Nova's biggest rival and contender.
Vote counting was underway this past weekend after people in the Atlantic archipelago of Sao Tome and Principe, regarded as a model of democracy in Africa, cast ballots in a presidential election. President Carlos Villanueva faced off with party rival Nito Viegas Dabrio, a current member of parliament backed by former Prime Minister Patrice Trovoada, along with 2 independent candidates. National Electoral Commission voiced concern about the low turnout, saying many people had gone to polling stations without casting ballots. A former Portuguese colony in the Gulf of Guinea, the island nation of 200,000 inhabitants, has a history marked by attempted coups, including one in 2022, that was promptly thwarted by the military. The scattering of islands off the coast of Western Equatorial Africa is now viewed as a model of African parliamentary democracy. The president has a largely ceremonial role, responsible for representation and the promulgation of laws, while most executive powers lie with the Prime Minister. Nova supporters celebrated in the streets of the capital after preliminary results showed he had won a second 5-year term in Sunday's presidential election. The National Electoral Commission made the announcement with international observers describing the vote as peaceful.
Eugenio Tiny received 603 votes, corresponding to 1.07%. Nito Abreu received 23,394 votes, corresponding to 41.42%. Miquez Juan received 892 votes, corresponding to 1.58%. Carlos Villanueva received 31,596 votes, corresponding to 55.94%.
I receive this mandate with humility and responsibility. First of all, I would like to thank my family, especially the First Lady, who has always been by my side. I also thank every citizen, whether known or anonymous, who exercised their right to vote, and I thank the political parties that expressed their support. Regardless of the choice they made, everyone contributed to strengthening our democracy.
Villanueva has faced criticism for dismissing former Prime Minister Trovoada in January 2025, a move ruled 1 year later to be contrary to the constitution. Trovoada, now head of the ADI and vying to regain the Prime Minister post in legislative polls this coming September, has thrown his support behind Villanueva's rival Viegas Dabrio. Viegas Dabrio, the 43-year-old leader of the ADI group in Parliament, is promoting himself as a representative of those born after the country's independence in 1975. On the international stage, Sao Tome and Principe is a partner of the European Union and of former colonial power Portugal, whose slave and sugar trade it once served. The archipelago derives most of its revenue from agriculture, particularly the production of cocoa and coffee, as well as vanilla and pepper. However, the island nation remains heavily dependent on international aid, with a large majority of its population living below the poverty line. Africa Bureau, WION World is One.